Hello, audience. Welcome to the first episode of the Wacky Wrestling and Crazy YouTube podcast. It is your host, Silo DeFritas, from the Silo DeFritas YouTube channel, and today we will be establishing more of what this podcast is going to be about. You only got a bit of a snippet of what I was talking about in the trailer. But I think it's time to talk about what's going to be the next few or many episodes to come after this episode. And I'm excited to do this because I get to talk about wrestling, which is very fun, professional wrestling so you know what it's about, because you may think, oh, academic wrestling? No, none of that, no. But professional wrestling, like John Cena, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you get it. If you're an outsider to the professional wrestling spectrum, I don't know if you want to watch this, but keep watching it or listening to it if you want to. This is also on my Silo DeFritas YouTube channel if you want to go watch it there. But also, I'm talking about my crazy YouTube upload schedule that I usually do, and it's going to be pretty good. And another thing that we're going to be doing, probably not in this episode, since I'm probably just going to talk about some stuff, is that I will be reviewing professional wrestling from the week. So like Monday Night Raw or NXT, AEW, any AEW show like Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, pay-per-views I'll be reviewing from that week. Even because these are on Fridays, so sometimes pay-per-views or premium live events for WWE are on like Saturday or Sunday. Well, that after that Saturday and Sunday, the following Friday, that will be what we review. Same for SmackDowns. If you want to know what's going to go on with that, Friday Night SmackDown, since it's the day of Friday Night SmackDown here, you won't hear about that until like next week's podcast, which is perfect because we get to start off the podcast fresh and sharp. It might be a little late, but whatever. I'm still reviewing it. But yeah, so let's establish what reviewing the wrestling is going to be like. So we will be having three things I liked on Monday Night Raw, AEW, SmackDown, NXT, etc., premium live events, pay-per-views. We're going to have three things I liked about it and three things I didn't like about it. So how it's going to work is we're going to call it the green card great matches or great segment part of the shows. So there will be a green card, a fictional green card, because you can't see what I'm holding up right now. And then there will be a fictional, but I actually have a red card. And there's a fictional red card that you can't see because you can't see what I'm doing right now unless I go to YouTube and make it a video podcast, which I probably pretty soon will. And so the red card will symbolize that how if I didn't like it or what was bad about it, and I will explain what was bad about the match or the segment that was being put on. Because, you got like Dave Meltzer's 5-star rating and stuff. You got different ways to rate it. So I'm going off a red, a green card. And then there's going to be one all right segment, which will be like a yellow card. Will be the all right segment of the show. So that's going to be a different thing too. But I don't think we're going to introduce that until like maybe third episode yet. So that's how I'm going to be rating the shows on a term to scale. So red card, yellow card, green card, worst, decent, great. And then, yeah, so hopefully we can see a lot of new segments and good segments so I don't have to pull out the red card. But if I have to pull out the red card, then I'll pull out the red card. Otherwise, it should be a great thing to listen to. And then that's pretty much it. But guys, I think this isn't just gonna all be professional wrestling. It will be based off of it, but it's not all. Then it's gonna be about YouTube. So, and then we're gonna have a segment called um, Pop Culture Pandemonium, which will be like what's going on right now, which could be extensive YouTube, which is not just wrestling side of YouTube. It could be like what's happening with Colleen Ballinger. I might talk about that this episode because everybody else is. She, I don't know. All right, all right. Let me get. I'm just trying to establish things. I'll get to that later. But you see, it's going to be extensive YouTube things happen outside of YouTube. Pop culture pandemonium will be. So it's just going to be all of that. But that's really so that we're gonna have it in bits: the rating the wrestling, pop culture pandemonium, and talking about my YouTube channel. Really. So we got that, and then I might add one more segment down the road, and that we'll see. I'm trying to establish things on the first podcast just so we don't need to establish it further down the road, so you guys don't even know what I'm talking about if you're listening to this. And if you've already tuned off, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, but isn't that really what a podcast is for? Um, but yeah, it's been a crazy few months for me on YouTube because you see, I don't I don't know how to say this, but I'm not like one of the biggest YouTubers of all time. I'm not. All right. But, I'm trying to get to that goal. And then I post videos. I didn't post a video for quite a while, I think. And my views just went down just because of that. But it's pretty obvious that they would do that. And so it kind of just went into a downward spiral. It was like I was doing a pretty decent with you know, when I look at my YouTube channel, I see like 100 views. I say, all right, that's a decent spike. It's not 1,000, it's not 1,000,000, but at least I'm a small channel, so it's that. But I've hit 1,000. See, there's some videos that get up to 1,000, like the CM Punk video. That video was 123,000 views, and that was a pretty. I think it's the biggest spike of all time. Tony, which is the Tony Khan. I'm serious. I'm not gonna sit here back and take this fucking shit, and then it's just crickets after. That video got 69,000. Haha, 69. And then the White Rabbit when I went to Monday Night Raw in St. Paul, Minnesota, 11,000 views. That's the third biggest video on my channel, and it's just like and then you go down the line, you got the table for three, you got the other table for three, you got the something something Cody Rhodes, you got Ultimate Wrestling Clusterfuck, the series. I think that's my favorite series to make on YouTube because it's where I can be free, where I can be myself, where I guess not really because it's just like inspirations. Thank you to Botchamania. If I wouldn't have started Ultimate Wrestling Clusterfuck, like if he wouldn't have done Botchamania, I probably could have started it, but I wouldn't have had an idea what to do with it. I just wanted to branch out into different series on my channel. Like there's real life stuff, like the time I met Drew McIntyre, the informational videos when I'm talking, like everything. There's those videos. There's some video gaming videos on my channel. There's a bunch of videos that I post. I don't post, and then you got the Pro Wrestling Crate, which I'm not sponsored by, but I got where I'm filming right now. I got a big wall, and it's like stacked. Since I just started Pro Wrestling Crate back in November, which was 7 months ago, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I have 7 Pro Wrestling Crates. So that's kind of going to be a wall. And Pro Wrestling Crate is actually a great thing because you get to review these shirts. You get 2 shirts in the box. You get sometimes you get some socks in there. and you get a bunch of autographs. I have a bunch of autographs up on my wall. You get you can get a koozie sometimes. You can There's just a lot of good wrestling merchandise in there, depending on which box you get. That's the thing. But it's a really cool box to get every month if you're a wrestling fan. There's another few pro wrestling like little crate boxes, but it's not by I don't think it's made by the same company, which is Pro Wrestling Tees, but it's not the same company. There's like pro or let me check. There's like two other pro wrestling boxes that they have, are not Pro Wrestling Tees, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like there's Wrestle Crate UK. I think if they're still doing that. See, the thing is, some of these crate boxes quit doing stuff. Like, let me check. Yeah, All Elite Crate, which they created, Pro Wrestling Loot. Um, there's just a bunch of them, but I primarily go off of Pro Wrestling Crate because Pro Wrestling Tees has a lot of cool shirts, as you know, and a lot of wrestlers kind of go with Pro Wrestling Tees to get their merchandise out on the indies, which is pretty cool. Dang, had to cough for a second. Um, but they have a lot of cool things you can get in the box, and just a lot of cool stuff, really. I know I keep talking about this pro wrestling crate, but if you want to see all the stuff that's on YouTube, go watch my YouTube channel, which is Siler Friedis. Should be linked somewhere. If it's not, I'll try to link it somewhere so you guys can find it and click on the link and then go to it. Um, but pro wrestling crate stuff is pretty good. I like doing these little confidential series made by AI. All right, let's get into the verse of AI. So AI is cool. I get it. A lot of celebrities don't like that their voices are being used against them like singers. I think I'm half and half on the singing part because, like, if I was a singer, I would I would be a little ticked off that people are using my voice to produce songs that I really didn't know were even being produced. It's I don't think that's all right at a time, but then it's cool because then like these people create like good songs out of it. That's like the cool part of it, but then it's not cool that they're taking stuff from them. But the AI confidential series that I'm creating is really just supposed to be kind of comedic, kind of serious at times, just because I'm trying to make it like a little talk show type thing. Almost like a podcast, but not really. But it's a little series, and I will be doing the confidential match between Hulk Hogan, or for Triple H, Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon. That's going to be a really interesting match because, you know, it's I don't know, but it's going to be a funny match. It's good, and then I'm going to use WWE 2K23 most likely to do that match. So, because I don't think you could just do Hulk Hogan out of nowhere just randomly. So that match is going to happen soon because I posted that like maybe a month ago, which I was trying to get it out, but that's why I wasn't posting. I wasn't posting for a long time. And like the Ultimate Wrestling Clusterfuck Part 10 that I created 3 weeks ago didn't get many views. It only got 2. So go watch that if you want to. But then when I came back again after the 3 weeks hiatus, I released 2 videos, which was my trailer for my YouTube podcast, and Ultimate Wrestling Clusterfuck Part 11, which got 99, which spiked for some weird reason. I don't know why. Like it's like I'm gone for a few months or a few weeks even at times. I release a video and then I release one video, it kind of gets pretty shit views, but then and then the next few videos, it kind of spikes a bit, a little bit better. And then I released this short that got 2K views, which I do all right on YouTube Shorts. I'm not like the best on YouTube Shorts, but I do what I can. I don't. It's like I just post shorts to post the short. It's like, but like I released an ostrich one, which didn't have many views, and it's kind of gone up a bit, but still doesn't have that many. Then I did the album covers thing. What where something couldn't be an album cover. It just said, or let me see what it says. Things that could not be an album cover thing. The trend that was popular like a few months back, and that I posted that, and then damn. I posted my dog jumping in the snow because the snow here where I live gets up to like a few like not even a foot, but like pretty big snow in the backyard, and it gets pretty tall. And then so I posted that video because she hops like a little rabbit in the snow, and it's really funny. That was cool. Then I did this Madden 23 kickoff field goal thing for random. I don't know. Cause I thought it was kind of cool because I never seen that happen in real life. Then I posted the Attacking the New Day WWE 2K23 thing. Then it was the getting cucked by a kid named Dominic thing Max Caster did. Really funny thing from the AEW thing. Now that, if I would have started the podcast, that would have probably been green card, great segment of the show right there, one of the tops. And then I posted this, good God Almighty, they killed him, and it's these two dogs and this one big dog, which I think is a mastiff. One of my commenters commented, this big dog just jumps up, or no, the human's like, come here, and he's tapping on his chest or whatever, and then the dog literally jumps up, pretty much pushes him into the water, and then he splashes in the water, and then the other dog comes. But funny part, which I added to this was the Jim Ross saying, "Good God Almighty, good God Almighty, they killed him." It's comedy gold, I think. At least it's pretty funny. I don't know about the other people that watched that, the 2,000 people that watched that, but I think it was pretty funny to make. And that's also, you can find that in the Ultimate Wrestling Clusterfuck episode. I just took that and just trimmed it up a bit. So, should I talk about her 18 minutes into this podcast? Should I? Because you got Colleen Ballinger. Yep, you knew we were going to get to this part of the episode. I said I would talk about her later in the episode, which is pretty much now later in the episode. And I got to talk about her. So, I guess I don't have to, but I just want to, because why not? So she posted this video a long time ago. I know, like, why are you talking about something? But see, I started this podcast way later is the problem. And I would have started this podcast like a week ago, last Friday probably. But for the YouTube viewers, I didn't realize I didn't post the YouTube video to the podcast yet. And I was like, what? So I had to go do that. So my YouTube viewers, you people on the podcast feed, wherever you listen to your podcast, you probably would have heard it before I even posted it, or to YouTube. So YouTube would have been a little bit late to the party. So I just sat out one more week of Friday for the podcast. So now I'm doing the podcast officially. which is good because I don't want to wait to do the podcast 3 weeks down the line. It'd be Friday, and then first episode comes out. I I just want to start it at least last week or this week, which we started this week, which is a good thing because I so far I am enjoying doing this 20 minutes into the podcast. But now we're gonna get into the toxic gossip train thing. I'm not gonna play too much, but you know, Colleen Ballinger. See, if you guys don't watch her, and if you have heard about it, cool. I guess stick with me. Maybe I don't know, but she literally sings or no. What she was doing is she was contacting her fans like however many years ago. I don't know the exact thing, but she contacted her fans in a weird way, and just she was as you can tell if you watch the video or if you want to go watch the video because there's re-uploads of the video out there. Um, Clean was talking to her fans, kind of released too much about herself and was being weird. And you got the Clean's weenies incident and whatever. And she's talking to them on this little app or whatever, and I guess it's a bit weird. It's really weird because if I did that, I would probably be really ashamed of myself. But I don't think I would do it at all. I wouldn't be able to do any of that for anyway. Dude, that'd be stupid. But you know, Clean does this thing, and then she comes on to talk to her fans. She hasn't posted in a while, and then she pulls out the ukulele and absolutely just starts singing for no reason, and it's just like why, like literally, because you got see listen to this. All right, stop. Because Ethan Klein got copyrighted for that. I'm not gonna play that any further. But she goes on this big little rant, music, singing, ukulele playing stuff, and it goes on for exactly 10 minutes. She was gonna stop the video at 8 minutes. She kept going for 10 minutes. So she went 2 more minutes of the video. And it was like, no, just stop it at 8 minutes. It was already getting annoying through like the first like seven. And when she was gonna stop it at 8 minutes, she kept going. So, but you know, she pretty much kind of ruined her reputation a bit with this video, and it's just embarrassing to just be caught doing this in general. You know, I would feel I if I was to do this, I don't know. And literally, there's a comment. If this is her official channel, I think this is her official channel. Yeah, this is her official channel. So the video is still up, but this one comment says, the top comment says, "You should have listened to your PR team, girl." And I am exactly with that comment because holy crap. But yeah, and then people just started going crazy over this, and people just ran with it. Like Ethan Klein's doing a full thing. He interviewed a bunch of people. Who else? uh, who is that one other? Oh yeah, Meat Canyon, the animator, made this video, and he's kind of into that. Meat Canyon does a bunch of like animations about stuff in pop culture or whatever, or whatever's going on in the YouTube sphere outside of what I talk about, like wrestling. It's one of the channels I watch, and it's creepy. It's unsettling sometimes, but I get through it. And it can be funny sometimes. And yeah. So that's all about the Clean Ballinger incident from a few weeks, 2 weeks ago. And then you know, what else are we talking about here? So yeah, it's like singing songs, singing songs, singing songs. But what's the point? You know, I get like a lot of people are targeting her right now, but like, and a bunch of people are saying mean things about her on Twitter, maybe even maybe not Instagram, but maybe Twitter, because people on Twitter are kind of psycho. Sometimes Elon, get your shit together. Um, but I guess I it's not alright to bully people in the exact sense, but just like I feel like I don't know. See, I'm stopping and I'm trying to think of something to say, but it's just you shouldn't bully her, but at least just keep it to like a thing. It's not like I'm sticking up for her. What she did was wrong, but just just don't bully her in the sense. Just don't do that shit. It's just not fun. But yeah, Twitter on the current sphere is pretty cool place. Where I just talk about AEW and WWE stuff sometimes. It's mainly AEW pay-per-views I go on there and talk about, because the getting cooked by a kid named Dominic didn't just go viral, or not really viral, but didn't just go get popular on my YouTube channel, but it got popular on my what was it? On It got popular on Twitter, and a lot of people saw it. Was the crazy thing. I never thought anybody would see it, but it got 15K views, 15.6K views, and I was like, holy crap! A lot of people saw it, and just imagine the people that saw it. It was funny. All right, you can't tell me. Huh. Well, let's get to the famous part. All right. So that was one of the parts, but there's a lot of things that was funny about that, and then I was like, oh, this whatever they're on generally, I was like, oh, I could just record my TV real quick, and I'm like, they always go at least viral when they rap, like in some sense in the wrestling world. Max Caster and Anthony Bowen, they're like one of the greatest tag teams to do it right now, and to bringing rap into it is like the best part, because they roast the shit out of wrestlers. Sorry, that was my dog. Um, Roasting the shit out of these wrestlers, roasting the shit out of people outside of wrestling. Like, it's funny as shit, you know. Um, and I think Max Caster, and guys, I don't know if this is relevant to the situation, but I will be here to talk about other YouTubers, which you've already heard me say: Colleen Ballinger, Ethan Klein. Those are the people I've watched in the few like the last few days. Um, and then there's this one YouTuber, you may know him in the wrestling circle, wrestling YouTube circle, uh, which is Grimm's Toy Show or Silly Super Pop or Grim Experience, Do Hop, which is his brother, Tina, which is his wife right now. But you got all those characters, right? And I like his show. It's very funny at times. It's just, it's another wrestling thing to watch, you know? And like when you're like when AEW WWE isn't on, there's another show to watch. Or like, I'm sorry if I'm saying like too much, but GTS wrestling is like the best thing to watch on YouTube, set aside from other people. WWE's YouTube channel is kind of basic because I kind of already watched what already is posted. Sometimes they have cool stuff, but it's all random. AEW, you can catch up on stuff there, and it's just a fun show. But I'm excited for this upcoming Wednesday, which we'll be reviewing on the podcast next Friday and stuff. We'll be reviewing on the podcast. And it's going to be the Blood and Guts match, which really depends. It really depends if it can stand up to that level of being one of the greatest matches. Because if it does get the green card of great matches on that show, I will put it on there. I will actually do that for the podcast. It will be on there. So if it does poorly and is a bad match, it's gonna get the red card, or it's gonna get the yellow card, it was an alright match, which isn't very good if it's gonna get a yellow card because that means the match is mid. So hopefully it gets that green card. But it's gonna be fun to see what happens on that. And then we have, I think there's another YouTube gossip thing, not the gossip train, but there's another. I swear, there's another like thing that's happened in the past week. Oh yeah, Smosh. Let's talk about that. Um, they bought their company. I'm actually a decent fan of Smosh. Didn't watch it. Pretty young. Um, but I or no, I had watched it through the years. I kind of had to catch up on some of the old stuff, but I watched old Smosh. I really liked it. Watched new Smosh, pretty good. And Ian is a trooper, man. Dude stood by Smosh for 6 freaking years without Anthony, and was just a trooper. He just stood there with the rest of the Smosh cast, which is their podcast, but the cast of Smosh, and he just ran with it, man. But the problem was they weren't doing the views and the numbers they were doing when they were doing it back in the day. But now that Smosh is coming back, which Anthony officially came back a week or two back. It was pretty cool to see them coming back together. First video they did, it got 9.3 million. The second one, which was their first episode of coming actually back, got 5.2. But the current video that just released an hour ago as I record this has only gotten 354K, but I think it's probably going to get 1 million views, I assume. But they're doing really good right now, and I'm thinking that in the current YouTube space, like as comedy as their form of comedy, would sketch comedy be relevant here? And that was kind of the situation. Would it be relevant? And I think it would, in the sense, but you know, so far they're doing really good. For 3 videos of them being back together, they're doing really good. So I'd have to say, good for them, and keep doing what you're doing, guys. Smosh doing really good. Grim doing really good. All the people I watch is like it's a big cluster, if you know what I mean. Because you got Smosh, you got Cultaholic, dude. I got all my wrestling news from them. Just a bunch of people, And Botchamania, dude. I don't know if I should do a Botchamania like review, but that's we're still establishing things here on the first podcast. And so far, 36 minutes have gone by from me talking. But podcast going forward is really going to be fun to do because you got all these things that I'll be talking about. I'll even be talking about some of my favorite music people that are coming out, like the Pink tape that just came out from Lil Uzi Vert. That was sick. His Nakamura thing, which is on my little playlist, my workout music that's on there. That was actually kind of sick since I'm a wrestling fan and I'm also like a rap fan. It was pretty cool to combine those. Um, or I am actually a fan of Lil Uzi Vert, not just a rap fan. But it's cool to have that combined together. And then you got like the Juice World and Corday song, bro. That was lit. I like all the things I like all the elements they brought to that song from Eminem's song. It was really good. I I like the way that how they made that song. I know it came out like many years before Juice had passed away, or like maybe a year or two before. And but the deep fake they used as Corday was Juice World, obviously, and then the mannerisms were down to the spot on the music video. But freaking, I'm telling you, Cole Bennett, dude. Cole Bennett is lit. He is such a good director for all these music videos because he knows how to do them. He knows how to do everything pretty much when it comes to that. So it's honestly, if I was a music guy or a singer or a rapper or whatever, I would actually go to Cole Bennett to do the music video. Um, Pretty good guy. Uh, and then yeah, so that was the current rap genre. And then, guys, let me tell you something. Let me talk to you, as LA Knight would say. I have merch out right now. My merch store, I haven't linked it on the YouTube, which I have a link tree now, which I will be officially putting in the description in my YouTube channel, probably my podcast stuff, where you can find me on everything. And it's going to be great merch. So far, the merch looks pretty decent, I have to say. One of my friends made the logo that I'm using right now. He's a great artist, and it's in the style of what he would do, and it's pretty cool. Um, and yeah, so I used that for see when you look at my channel. When you look at my channel here, um, I had like a tiger for my channel icon for a long time. It was for quite a bit, for like a year, 2 years or so. And then I changed it because I was like, well, what's the reason to even keep the Tiger? Because my nickname is the Wildcat, of course, but why keep the Tiger? Why? But when I remodeled the channel, when I redid the channel, I redid the banner and I redid my icon so it's all updated, but it still's got the Tiger thing. And so far, I have 230 subscribers on YouTube, which is, I'm telling you, not that big on YouTube as the current moment, but I'm doing all right. What I'm trying to hit is 500 subscribers, because then when I do get up to that subscriber mark on YouTube, um, I get to release my merch onto YouTube. So, people, if you're looking for my channel, go subscribe to the Siler Fritas YouTube channel, because if you want to know what I do on YouTube and not just hear about it on the podcast, go to SYLERDEFREITAS, the YouTube channel, or just Siler Fritas. That's how you say it. So go to that YouTube channel, and then you get to watch the podcast. You get to watch Ultimate Wrestling Clusterfuck. You get to watch The New Confidential. You get to watch Pro Wrestling Crate Unboxings, which the thing about the Pro Wrestling Crate Unboxings is that I didn't get to do the June one because I was doing a hiatus for the bit. So this month, I will be doing the June and July Pro Wrestling Crate Unboxings, which will be cool, which will be really cool. And if you want to watch any other series or any other video, just watch any other video. There's a lot of videos. And another Monday Night Raw. I'm going to another Monday Night Raw in the Midwest area of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I will be at that Monday Night Raw on August 7th, which will be pretty cool. And I just want to see what we can, or what's going to happen, because my favorite wrestler, and I've talked about this maybe on my YouTube channel, I'm not sure, but one of my favorite wrestlers is Seth Rollins. Seth freaking Rollins, dude. He just has one of the greatest wrestling characters. Like, he's funny. He's like energetic all the time. He just does his character justice. And I think that's a great reason for why WWE signed him, is because he could do a character justice no matter what. Same for Roman Reigns. He didn't do justice for his character for a bit until he did this bloodline stuff. When he started doing the bloodline stuff and became a heel, then he started to discover himself as a heel character, and he actually started being a good character, which is what I like about Roman Reigns' character. And then you have all these, and then you have Jon Moxley, which isn't with WWE anymore. A lot of people don't like his character on AEW, and I guess I can understand why, because he kind of it's like not even 2 seconds after the match and he's already got a fucking blade in his hand, cutting people up or cutting himself up, which is like, man, not every match has to be a hardcore match, but I get it. If you're a hardcore wrestler, it's very hard to not do a hardcore match every single time you hop onto wrestling. But I guess you could turn the hardcore switch off sometimes. But yeah, AEW I don't think has really dropped the ball with Jon Moxley. It's just not the bloodline. The Blackpool Combat Club stuff is what he's trying to do right now, and he's kind of succeeding at it right now. But I think when he's done with that, I think he needs another AEW championship shot or TNT championship shot, or whatever you want to give to him. That'd be really cool for Jon Moxley. Because then, if you did give the championship to Jon Moxley, just imagine Roman being the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Jon Moxley being the AEW Champion, and Seth Rollins being the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That would be sick for all three of them to have championships. It's like the Shield has officially made it all around the wrestling world, which would be cool. Kind of being a mark, if you ask me, on my hand of the book, but whatever. But yeah. Oh, I should review the AEW video game. So currently, there's been an AEW video game also that just really released number of weeks ago. There's a lot of old news that I'm recapping on this podcast because a lot of this stuff happened like 2 weeks ago or like a week ago because I didn't start the podcast till like last week or didn't have the idea till last week. So last Monday was when I started, or I released the trailer last Monday on podcasting websites. Then that Friday, I released it onto the YouTube channel, and then this Friday, now we have the podcast. So everything's like 2 weeks later, or a week later. So the AEW video game, which was 2 weeks ago, pretty much, it's been a really fun game. There's a few limiting causes to AEW Fight Forever. It's just there's not enough hairstyles. That's my only complaint. But there's like not enough like stuff in the game, which I think they might fix. Hopefully they fix. Don't be like a game that doesn't fix anything because they don't even fix. I hate the video games that don't fix their stuff. Just why have the same game? But AEW, and then they're gonna do the Stadium Stampede, which I saw on their Instagram, which is gonna be cool, and that would always be fun to play. I wish that would have been on launch day. We knew we would be able to do that. And in real life AEW, why did they get rid of Stadium Stampede? I understand why, because it would be probably too long just to do, but like it was so good. And I liked the first one they did, and then they never did one ever again after that. They just started to doing the Anarchy in the Arena, which was a poor decision because Anarchy in the Arena is it's like a glorified Falls Count Anywhere match, if you ask me. Like they're just battling around the arena, and then pretty much that's it. So Stadium Stampede, at least they were battling all around the stadium, but it was like a big football field, It could have transitioned into any field, really. Baseball, any field. But they quit, so now we got Anarchy in the Arena for Double or Nothing instead of the big Stadium Stampede. But I get it because Stadium Stampede would kind of be a pain since I think Stadium Stampede would have only worked in the COVID era, which was the first Stadium Stampede and the only Stadium Stampede that ever happened. It could only work in the COVID era, only because it only because the fact that there was nobody even going to be there, and the Stadium Stampede worked because nobody was at the actual Daly's place, and nobody was actually at the actual football field. So, but I think that was pre-taped too, like a day before, or a couple days before, or a week before. That match was pre-taped. So I don't know how that would work because I feel like it would get leaked immediately online. I think that's why they quit. But if AEW brings that back, it'll probably be one of the most memorable matches of all time. But yeah, we're also going to talk about Money in the Bank real quick. Nothing big. But the the botch from Logan Paul and Ricochet wasn't even really a botch, sort of a botch. They're pretty much working off the storyline of a botch, and they're just gonna keep going with that. I don't even know why they're gonna work off a botched move for the storyline, because literally the table didn't break. The and then the other table broke, but I am the table literally happened, and it wasn't even that bad of a move, really. And I'm sorry if I sound like one of those other media professionals, which I do listen to, Fightful. He's SRS said this already to what is her name? Denise, and they were talking about this, but they're just literally working off a botch. Really, that's all they are doing. So I like to see how that storyline picks up and how it does in the current, how it's just going to go on to SummerSlam. I think they're going to probably do something cool at SummerSlam, hopefully. But yeah, I think we're going to talk about one more thing before we leave the podcast here, as one more wrestling thing slash YouTube thing. Uh the the other the other thing was they we so sorry Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, because now I'm watching a Pro Wrestling Unlimited. They're saying Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. See, WWE, it's all right. They've been doing this for years. They know what they're doing, apparently. Um, but they like to rebook a bunch of storylines. It's like, why? What's the point? I understand there's some unfinished business, like say like there's a botched finish where the match just ends, or there's a finish, they just finished the match altogether. It's like, that's fine and all. Then you could rebook it, but like, why rebook it when literally you pretty much the finish of the match was at Money in the Bank? Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank was already enough. It's like, you guys were literally playing off. Seth Rollins wanted the Finn Balor that he saw at SummerSlam 2016, which wasn't the Finn Balor that Seth Rollins saw in 2016. In fact, that wasn't even the Finn Balor. It was the Demon Finn Balor versus Seth freaking Rollins. But this works in the fact of Seth Rollins is facing Finn Balor at SummerSlam. So if they can play the Demon Finn Balor at SummerSlam, hey, it would look like 2016. But will they? Probably not. Hopefully, though. Hopefully they can write that into the storyline. Um, but Seth freaking Rollins, Logan Paul, all this, there's like a bunch of really good stuff happening out there for wrestling. And this all out, or no, is it all in? It's all in London. That's going to be another cool thing, because I want to see what AEW does with that show. Um, and for their first show being kind of out of the States. Well, not really, because Canada is kind of considered out of the States, but London being like across the pond, as you'd say, for being one of those shows would be really cool to see. And we'll see who gets a red and a green card, or a yellow card if that's possible. But yeah, I think that's about the only news or like stuff I have to talk about until another thing happens. Or maybe there's one more thing, but I don't think at the current moment that there's really anything to look for. But yeah, so guys, that's the end of the Wacky Wrestling and Crazy YouTube podcast. And it's your host, Siler Frida, signing off. See you next Friday, and goodbye.